Democrats and Republicans reach across the aisle to put the shutdown to an end. The question on everyone's mind is, when will it go back to normal?
I would argue that, folks would get paid and receive all of their money, SNAP benefits, etc. I could see all of this being resolved within the week.
Brianna says once the government reopens, there needs to be serious conversations to make sure assistance programs like SNAP don't run out of money if there's another shutdown in the future.
Ideally, it would be nice if someone would propose legislation that would increase the reserves. So that way, if, the government will shut down in the future, and it's shut down for a longer period of time, that vulnerable populations who rely on SNAP will not go hungry.
Hello, this is Pastor Derek Thomas of Living Witness Ministries. Welcome to the Word of Witness podcast. Today, we are entering a significant moment, not just a moment of relief, but one of responsibility. The government shutdown is over and a new normal is dawning. The question is, what will the church's posture be in this new normal? The answer is multifaceted and significant, so let's dive into unpacking it by addressing the fundamental question. What does the new normal mean? It means the federal government is reopened, agencies are coming back online, benefits resume, and services restart. For many, it feels like the world can breathe again. But for us as believers, the new normal is not a return to business as usual, but instead it's a kingdom-shaped transformation that seems to answer the questions of what has been broken, what is now opening, and how can the church lead in restoration in the midst of this new normal? Let's begin by surveying what was broken. The recent shutdown of the U.S. government was the longest in history, 43 days, according to the Associated Press. Let that sink in for a second. 43 days. It caused furloughs, delayed benefits, and ignited uncertainty for millions of Americans. The reopening bill passed narrowly, 222 to 209 in the House, with many still feeling wounded as a result of the experience. For the church, this means striving to meet the needs of neighbors that experienced economic pain, food insecurity, and delayed assistance, federal workers who were hit with pay being withheld and increased stress, and communities that are grappling with a steep decline in social trust in governmental and financial institutions. The return phase is not just about reopening offices, but it's also about rebuilding lives. In the scriptures, we read of communities coming out of exile, returning from captivity, rebuilding ruined cities, and so much more. These feats took faith, courage, and the resolve to consistently remain focused on the task at hand, regardless of distractions that came. While this new normal is analogous, the work that we are called to engage in the days ahead is focused and restorative. Churches must ask questions in this moment like, what have we seen? What have we heard? Which hurts persist? And where is our opportunity to demonstrate the gospel in the midst of this new normal? Scripture offers us a blueprint for after the storm. Consider Isaiah 43 verses 18 and 19, where it says, "Remember not the former things, nor consider the things of old. Behold, I am doing a new thing." Nehemiah 2:17 and 18 says, "You see the distress we're in. Let us rise up and build." Psalm 46, 1 and 3 and 10 says, "God is our refuge and strength, even when the earth gives way." These passages teach us that in the aftermath of crisis, number one, we must remember but not be trapped by the past. Number two, we must rise to rebuild, redeem, and reconcile. Number three, We must rest in the Lord's strength and not our own. Number 4, we must become new creations that have been changed, not simply returned. The church's role in the midst of this new normal is not to go back to the old status quo, but instead to step into the new kingdom possibilities. Let's now look at specific areas where the shutdown disrupted life and what that means for the church's mission. In the area of food and benefits, SNAP and other assistance programs were suspended or delayed. According to Nature, the shutdown affected 43 million people reliant on benefits. Concerning the workforce, hundreds of thousands of federal workers were furloughed or unpaid during the shutdown. As it relates to the economy and trust, the Congressional Budget Office warned that the shutdown could cost the U.S. economy between $7 and $14 billion and shave up to 2% off the quarterly gross domestic product, or GDP. In short, the new normal phase, services have resumed, but the aftershock remains in the form of lost pay, missed rent, and delayed healing. People expect things to be back to normal, but many are in fact living newly broken with still fresh emotions that are raw and painful. As a result, the church must recognize that opening day of the government after the shutdown is not finish day for those affected by it, but is in fact launch day for ministry to those that have been affected. Scripture reminds us in Galatians 6:2 that we are to bear one another's burdens. The church must serve those still bearing burdens from the shutdown by offering assistance with food, finances, and fellowship. So what does healing look like? How can the church actively participate in restoring the social fabric? Well, it starts with presence. The church must stay active and available in neighborhoods, not only during the immediate recovery from the shutdown crisis, but for the long term, long after, to federal worker families, contract service workers, and local businesses that were impacted. Next, the church must be listening and lamenting. Just as Jesus wept after a loss in the community, the church laments with those suffering after the shutdown. The church's response to the losses suffered by members of the community as a result of the shutdown should include providing safe spaces for people to share what the shutdown cost them financially, relationally, and emotionally. The church should also offer restoration groups, which consist of small groups that are focused on work, trust, and service to ex-federal workers, contractors, and other local folks impacted by the bureaucratic shutdown. When the church addresses the real-life fallout of national events, it becomes relevant and redemptive. Without becoming partisan, the church can engage in advocacy and assistance by helping connect people to benefits, guiding them through resumption of services, and helping them file claims or acting as a translator or liaison. The church in this hour should strive to engage in Matthew 25 style ministry by feeding the hungry, clothing the needy, and welcoming the stranger. While the shutdown magnified division by pitting party against party, workers against the system, and person against person, the church can and must model reconciliation and unity across political, employment, and cultural lines. In the new normal, the church does not simply restart programs. It restores hope, rebuilds trust, and reminds communities of the enduring and endurance of the gospel. Let's get concrete. What can your church do in the coming months? Number one, organize and implement a Restart Day campaign by designating a special week for community service, including cleanup assistance, a benefit help desk, food distribution, and financial counseling. Number two, introduce a new normal sermon series in which pastors preach about restoration, second chances, and kingdom values for public life. Encourage congregants to see their workplaces and neighborhoods in mission mode. Number three, partner with agencies. Since federal programs are back online, partner with social services to help people transition, because there will be a high volume of people needing assistance, and they will need support at the community level in navigating the influx of people. Number four, volunteer mobilization. Invite church members who lost jobs or saw disruption to serve. It not only gives them dignity and purpose, but provides those that have suffered loss encouragement and support from someone that can truly relate to how they feel and where they are. Number five, training for church leaders, teaching them how to counsel people dealing with economic stress, delayed pay, and the psychological impact of the shutdown. Number six, community transparency. Share the church's challenges that they experienced as a result of the shutdown and how they positively responded, with the intent of further encouraging those in the community that experience hardship that they can make it and are not alone. Number seven, story gathering. Create testimonies of how people were helped during shutdown or restarted afterwards. Let the church hear these testimonies and celebrate the victories won. No church can do it all by itself, but if every church does its part to engage as it is equipped to, the church will be the much needed bridge for those impacted by the shutdown back to a life of joy, productivity, and support. The shutdown affects how we think about work, service, and vocation. Work is gifting, and service flows out of gratitude. Freed from crisis, we serve not just out of need, but out of overflow by sowing our time, our money, and our influence into encouraging people to re-evaluate life and its value after the shutdown. Post-crisis phases often lead to burnout, service hangover, or relapse into complacency. Our role as believers is to engage our brothers and sisters in dialogue designed to encourage and uplift. As we draw to a close, remember this: the end of the government shutdown is a call to beginning. The church's mission is not simply to survive disruption, but to flourish in restoration. Here's our commission in this hour. Go into your neighborhoods with listening ears and serving hands. Build churches that are more than programs. Build churches that are communities of love, service, faith, and witness. Thank you for joining me on the Word of Witness podcast. If you've enjoyed today's podcast, please subscribe by scanning the QR code in the bottom corner of the screen. Also, please share and encourage others to listen and subscribe. Until next time, this is Pastor Derek Thomas, encouraging you to stand firm, walk humbly, love deeply, and remember that living in the new means ushering others into their season of new. I'll see you next time. God bless.